Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about VFX props part 1. I'll go into part 2 also, but this is just to get a lay of the land, quote unquote. So what exactly is the problem? Problem is that actors have to act and interact in the scene, and sometimes you have to do it when you have camera close-up, meaning many times old movies generally use the trick of cutting away, meaning you may see a slap coming like this, but you will not see the actual slap. They will like cut away or other people's reaction. Generally it's a good way of like selling the slap without actually having to slap an actor. And you were like, can't we fake slap it? Here's the deal. If you try to do that, it will look fake. No matter what you do, it will always look fake, and people can detect it. That's why they generally cut away to show a reaction. And if you have to do fight scene, you cannot just do like this. People have tried it, but generally it looks so fake that is hilarious. And it's one of those things that you cannot fake interaction, meaning how the heck a thing is interactive with each other. Like for example, this movie, like imagine if she's like just doing hulu, it will look fake AF. You have to make sure that there are things that are connecting to each other. Same goes with fight scenes. Like you can have like very nice smooth camera motion, but everybody's like looks like it's dancing. There is no like connection. There is no So this is one of those things that is very important. On top of that, you also have to understand they generally sell a story, meaning especially if you have climax fight scenes, those scenes are not just like scenes. They generally have emotions, weight, connection, and especially if you have two boxers or like two family members fighting, generally each punch has to carry an emotion. So in those sort of scenarios, you cannot just like lol. You have to show something very serious here. Or like literally, even in this sort of scene, imagine if this choreography was not that good. So it will look fake. It will be like, huh. Like you can have best music there, you can have best story build up, but if it looks fake, flat out, your story is not gonna sell. And you cannot use raw CGI. This is one thing you have to understand. I always specify, CGI to enhance equals awesome. Raw CGI generally looks BS. So it's one of those things that you have to understand. If you directly try to enhance basically fight scenes with CGI, it's gonna look super stupid. It's not gonna look basic stupid, it's gonna look super stupid. So that's why you need prop master, because generally you're gonna have things that are interacting with each other. And human body, while it is strong and robust, it's not impervious. It's not like, nothing happens, and it's like, you can get cut, nicks, bruises, injury, especially if you are doing a lot of falling. You would be quite surprised how many times people injure themselves if they are just trying to fall. And again, stunts, men and women, they have to be trained just to fall, so they do not injure themselves. So if you, especially you are doing this sort of beer bottle scene, it's like, bam, it looks funny and it has been done from like, well, 80s. But there is a aspect of that aspect that we do not understand, is that glass looks fragile when it's not properly used. Glass is ludicrously strong. That's why we use it to carry fluids. Think about it. It's like if glass was not strong, nobody's gonna ship beer in beer bottles. Nobody's gonna do it. It's like, dude, it breaks. It never breaks. It's very, very robust. So if you actually did that, like in a scene, you took a beer bottle and bammed it, that person is gonna go in hospital, like seriously injured. So you have to understand this. This is very, very serious deal. And that's the job of prop master, to make sure this sort of things can be done without injuring or hurting someone. So we come to the planning aspect, and this thing cannot be done at last moment. You cannot just like, hey, many times you can notice this in like small budget movies, or like startups, or like student level people who are working on something, like they have good skill set, but like they did not plan the time for it. Meaning we're gonna plan all the stage and scenes, action, prop master. Outcome is generally garbage because of that reason. So it cannot be done on last moment. You have to plan for it from day one, and you have to figure out how many types of shot are there. For example, do you have close-ups? Like if you're talking about any object, like if the person has to live out the object, it will be classified as close-up or hero shot. And then you have, do you have actual fight? Meaning, is it like just a symbolic thing? Is like, charge or something like that? Or is it like tan tung ting? Do you have that? Stunt work is there. Then you have to train your actor and actresses. Then do you have dynamic scene interaction? Meaning, is this thing gonna cause a damage? Meaning, are you gonna show something being cut? Are you gonna show something being broken? Is there interaction there? And then you have to understand, people's safety is very important. It may look like, oh, you're just getting and then you're gonna fall. If you don't do it properly, there is a very good chance you're gonna bruise something, or really horrible chance of harming someone. Trust me, just falling that way. So that's why there is a whole thing known as stunt academy. There are people who are trained to do this. Like, think of it this way, like you may think of falling. Again, if you fall naturally, nature takes care of you. But if you're faking that fall, nature does not know what to do, because you are suppressing the instinct, like how you're supposed to fall, and consequence of that is like you can injure yourself. So it is one of those things that's why, like, whenever you talk about like it took 9 months to shoot, did they had camera running for 9 months? Hell no. Best case scenario, you're gonna have like 10 hours, 20 hours, maybe 50 hours of shoot time in an actual movie. But what are they doing for those 9 to 10 months? This thing, what they are doing, training, choreographing, repeating again and again. And any picture that spends a lot of time in that stage generally gives you amazing result. Like how the heck randomly John Wick became a sensation, because they put so much of it. And given the fact that original people behind the John Wick 1 was stunt people, they had that sort of inherent love of the craft, so they really poured their heart out on the stunts, and it shows. It's like you look at John Wick and you're like, damn, sir. One, after two, it became cartoon. It's like, does John Wick ever get tired? It's like, that's the same reason I don't like Mission Impossible. It's like, dude, things you are doing, oh, it's stunt and all this. Here's the deal: a human gets tired, human gets injured. Like you are walking, talking like a Wolverine. That's like just drops. It's like, I'm okay. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Like in the scene there where he actually breaks his leg, he just walks off. I'm like, no. You did that, you're gonna be paralyzed. So it's one of those things that I get it, like what they are trying to do. I get it from a story point of view, but it's like, dude, don't show this much. Don't show like you are just getting bing, bam, boom, bling, bling, and it's like, I'm okay. It starts to be. That's why I loved the part one. It was like amazing masterpiece. I'm gonna buy 4K Blu-ray of that. But the moment part two, part three, is like, yeah, no, he's just a freaking cartoon Superman at this point in time. Looks fun, but like not human. Then we come to the hand props, meaning again fighting and all that jazz, training, choreography. But at some point you have to have some tools and you have to do stuff. So these stuffs are generally things you have to deal with, and you have to understand this. If you have a hero shot, there are certain dynamics that you have to take into place, because what do you want to sell in terms of story? Like for example, many stories will have the sword is important. You cannot just like, yeah. If your actor just came and was like, it's gonna look fake, it's gonna look lame. So what you do, they will put an actual sword, as close to actual sword as they can, and of course generally the edges would be blunt, and then they're gonna have a close-up scene where the person pulls it up. Now why the heck is that? Well, human hand is a muscle. Now this muscles react based on the weight, meaning if you're lifting something light, you react something light. If you put something bit heavier, you handles you react like it's heavy. So in those sort of scene, it shows. Like especially if you are talking about 200-inch screen, it shows that if let's say Arnold Schwarzenegger is pulling up a sword and camera is zoomed in, and if the sword is very light, well, let's sword supposed to be 10 kilogram and the prop sword is like 1 kilogram, it's gonna look fake. So that's why in that shot they will have like main master object that will be the weight reference. At that point in time they pull it, it's like, whew, the muscles will act accordingly, and there's like, damn, you will carry that weight. It's like, that's why always close-ups are generally full weight props. So if you have a scene where everybody is trying to pull Thor's hammer, that hammer either it will be bolted down or they will try to have like as heavy weight possible, because again they can act as like but it's gonna look fake. But if it's something that they can really not pull, then they can truly react. So you have to understand, lightweight stiff props are used for stunts, never for hero shots up. If you do that, it will look fake. Again, it's not fake as in like, oh, it's not, it's just not gonna carry the gravitas. And movie magic is just about that gravitas, importance, weightage. So you do that. Now when you are doing like actual hero things, of course, then you're gonna have, instead of replace a true sword of 10 kilogram, you're gonna replace with a aluminum markup that is 10 instead of 10 kilogram, it may be as low as 1 kilogram, or maybe even lighter than that. So that's how you do. And then when you have to do slashing motions, so like a slashing motion, you use this sort of thing, meaning the prop itself has blood squirting technology, meaning it's just a bottle that you squeeze. That's why the actors generally pay attention whenever you're seeing camera too close to the person's hand will be always relaxed. They are trained in such a way, so it does not look like they are trying to look like this. The hand will be always relaxed, the fingers will be squeezing something. Or sometimes it could be done like if it's a very thin prop, let's say surgical knife, then they may have a pipe controlled by someone else, but generally it's done by the actor itself. Or if you really want to go deep, you may have a safety net. Then on safety net, makeup artist will pour on a fake skin with liquid and all that, and then you cut that layer. Very risky, not recommended, but can be done. So that's a blood rate for slashing events and all that jazz. Then you have generally multiple of each of these props, because be mindful, a true sword is made out of steel for a reason. It's not made out of aluminum for a reason. You make it out of aluminum, it's super light, but it breaks. So same goes here. When you have interaction, when two doing like this, generally things are gonna break. For example, in Mandalorian, They had a scene where they had the Darksaber. Now it was awesome. They built the handle out of proper metal grade aluminum, like true handle, solid, awesome. But what about the acrylic part? Again, it had to glow, so they literally made it out of basically acrylic. Now strong acrylic. They went out of their way to find the strongest acrylic. But the actor got carried away when they were acting. And again, the stuntman was in complete armament, so they did not have to worry about the actor acting or not. They were like just a stuntman. So he had like true coverage, true armor, and true metal stuff. And again, they were going all out. Consequence of that, the acrylic was like, bro, I am not lightsaber. Acrylics keep breaking. Again, prop master will always bring 2 or 3 models. They were not gonna bring 30 models because you're gonna keep cracking them. So it's one of those things that you always have to plan for. And again, whenever you have seen like this, where you like John is supposed to run it on a horse, supposed to have a Valyrian sword, and the sword is like hulululu, that simply means prop master messed up. Either at this location in time, swords would be metal sword, ideally aluminum sword. Like, could you use original sword? No. Never have original sword in anywhere near to the people, simply because they can fall, and the generally sword it's not gonna bend, so it's gonna harm you. So you always put lightweight element, or if you're using rubber props, those props have to have metal embedded in them. That's just give them the stiffness, so it does not look like this. This is a failure of prop master. It does happen. It's one of those things does happen. But again, this is what you have to pay for. This is what you have to plan for. If you do not do this, this will look like. And again, it's a day scene. I would have understood it's like if it was like night scene. But again, they shot it in 4K, cinema grade 4K. So how the heck somebody missed it? It's like, bro. So it's one of those things that hand prop you have to understand. Hero always original. Interaction generally as lightweight, as stiff as possible. And then when you have to do too much damage and all that, just generally it will be as soft as possible. But you always have many of them, few of them, to make sure that once actor get carried away, there's still something left. Then we come to the destruction, meaning how things get destroyed. Fight props, meaning if you have a scene where it's like actor takes it, sort of yams it. In those sort of scenarios, generally things are designed in such a way that it can break apart. Because you have to understand, in movies they make it look so easy that you can just have a bottle and yeet. Here's the deal, 99% of the chances that you're gonna hurt the person and bottles are not gonna crack. And same goes with a table, chair, and all that jazz. Those things are not that easy to break. So back in the old days, they used to purposefully weaken the chair. Again, they tried with stuntmen, it used to injure them. Again, not too harmful, but it was like, oh, okay. I felt somebody banging a chair on me. It was like that. So they tried to fully break it. Then they glued it with as light glue as possible, painted it again. Then it started to break apart. That looks very good. Nowadays, because of safety reason, they don't even do that. Now they have plastic resin stuff. That is very lightweight resin, like very lightweight, very high, basically light molecular mass and very low bonding strength. So it shatters instantaneously. Then they put some wood filler there, so it gives the effect of wood. And it's all about the paint. If you're ever breaking anything, and that's like, plastic supposed to look like metal, put proper paint there, then it will look like it. So breakaway things, chair, table, these things are generally specifically made for, and this would be the job of prop master to acquire this sort of thing. If you do not plan for it properly, and be mindful, these things are one use. You do not do retake, reaction, even prop glasses, bottles and all that jazz. They will only have few of them, because these things are very, very hard to ship. You have to understand it. It's like the reason why they are not used in real world, why the heck glass is so strong in real world, because it's a shipping material, like you ship it, something in it. So it has to be strong. This is very light, like they pack it in very, very foam padded, like very lightweight foam padded structure. Otherwise, like you can't crush it with your hand itself. So they have to fall apart on impact, or sometimes trigger also, meaning if they are creating something elaborate and they want to, for dynamic reason or show reason, they want to show things falling in one after another, they may have a trigger event, meaning somebody else from the outside of the camera is triggering it. Then prop glass is the key. Now back in the days, they used to use glass itself, specific chemistry of glass that was like super duper hyper lightweight. Nowadays they just use resin. Again, even more safety, and you can walk on that. Like it looks like a glass, it reflects light like a glass, you can walk on it. Of course, there won't be sound, you have to add sound. And you cannot show too much close up. Then people will say, hey dude, why the heck glass is bending? So if you have very small particles of glass, you can have this effect. But if you have very large chunks, then they will break it, then you will show actor walking on it. But if you have to do something large, something like this, at this point in time, you have an issue is that if you try to make prop glass that huge, it's gonna fall apart on its own. So they have to use temper glass. Like, wait a minute, don't we use temper glass in our cars? Well, yes, there is the reason for it. The reason with temper glass is it's super strong. But if it breaks, like if you ever exceed its strength, it breaks very controllably, meaning it turns into snow dust. It's like snow particles. It's designed that way. So if something bad happens to the tempered glass, it becomes safe. Because if you did that with plate glass is gonna be like big, giant glass blocks. Those blocks will retain their shape, and at that point in time, they are knives, which are very powerful, very sharp, and more than good enough to end human life. So in this point in time, we use tempered glass, because tempered glass is like either I'm completely strong or I'm completely dust. There is no middle way. So if they have a scene where actor and actress are going through it, they will have a nail or a boom device that's going to be on the sides of it, and stunt coordinator is going to boom it the moment he sees it. It has to be generally done pre-done, like very few milliseconds pre-done. Sometimes they may even have an electronic trigger where it's like detecting the characters who do it. But you get that point. Like, it's very tricky to do a remote trigger. So generally it's not a person who is doing it. They have to have a very high quality remote system. If you mess things up, you will injure the people. So this is how we do destruction. Now, this is part one. This is just getting your appetite wet. In the next part, we're going to talk about Pew Pew, America. So this was my presentation on VFX of the props. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.